Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It is so uh, it's so important that I had a little emergency here at Balloon Boom Studios in downtown Holly Hills that I just had to do it, and I think it just goes to show the when we talked about earlier uh, about the moment
Yeah.
that it
Yeah.
changes everything. And I want to personally thank you, Robbie, for doing this. This is a Herculean effort that you're giving us all to really lay it out. So we left off with the whale's got to make a decision. I say to
Yeah.
myself, I say to
Yeah.
myself, yeah, you,
Yeah. No.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
okay,
right.
all right,
Yeah,
boom,
you got to make one, right? You got
yeah,
to make a decision. And
yeah.
you're going out to let's say you're going to the Soccer Hall of Fame thing,
And I'm leaving my keys at home.
right? So if you don't leave your keys at home, because most of us don't, Kev, and you don't, and you get there, and there's always an open bar and stuff. So, but you're like, I'm driving. I don't want to. I'll just maybe I'll kind of just I'll do it for the toast and that. But I have but we're all gonna drink a beer too. I mean, it's just the way it is. If it's if we're drinking, we're either drinking or we're not drinking. One or the other. It's not like you're gonna kind of drink. So if you have a beer or two, look, there's nothing wrong with that. We're adults, for anybody that's listening to this, please don't think that I'm talking to everybody about what you need to do. I'm just telling the truth about what's happening in society today. I am probably the last person to ever dictate to anybody about what they should do when they drive a car with alcohol, but I've learned something that and as we get older, we find that what we learn in our lives, the first half of our lives, hopefully, like Kevin and I are in the fourth quarter, right? So, you kind of when you play a game, you kind of make adjustments at halftime, and you try and live with the mistakes you made and you try and do better, and you see where things aren't working and do better. Well, this is a big one, and it never happened to me. Why? I don't know. It certainly wasn't for lack of effort. I mean, there's thousands of times I've driven ridiculously, within a ridiculous amount of alcohol in my body. So, no, none of us ever think that this is going to happen. We just don't. If we did, I wouldn't have anybody in my class. By the way, there's 19 people tonight, but there would be no one in this classroom if. But they just went out, just like you had right there, Kevin. All of a sudden, something happened, and boom, and all of a sudden life as you knew it is over.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
I'm showing tonight, it's like a 3-minute video. I wish I could put it on for you on your podcast, but it's a young guy that he was 5 weeks from graduating from college, right? So he went 4.5 years. Actually, he was 5 weeks from graduating, and him and a few of his friends, before finals, they flew out to Vegas, and they just wanted to let off some steam before finals so they could get focused on finals. Well, so he went out there for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They were going to be back Sunday. So Friday night, they're at a club. He's driving back, and then this is where I pick it up in the video. He's in the police station. He thought he hit a fire hydrant. He thought he kind of bumped into a fire hydrant. Well, he hit a car, and the car he hit, the guy died. The guy, somehow, whether the guy went on, I don't know how the guy died, but the policeman was just telling him, you're being booked for alcohol and drugs. I guess he was smoking pot too or something, but alcohol and drugs and death. And he's like, Dad, what do you mean? I hit a fire hydrant. He goes, no, you hit a car, and this car, the guy in the car died. And so he went there for 4 days to let off some steam before finals, before starting his whole life. He got 14 and a half years in prison. Now, he was a young guy. This was 2000. The videos from 2000 and like I think 15 or 14. The laws changed again in 2018, so there probably wouldn't be any 14 and a half years today. But think about this. He was 5 weeks from graduating from college. He spent all that money on college, all that effort. We all went to college. You know what the thing is? I could have killed somebody every night in college driving a car. Down in Florida, back and forth to the beach at high rates of speed, throwing beer cans out the top of the car. I mean, but here I am teaching a DUI class, and this young man is going to spend the next 14 and a half years in a prison cell with nobody but another man with a little iron toilet. So they get to share that experience every day together, and they're going to sit there like animals.
The chemical makeup of booze is just ether, just add water. And so you think about what they do for ether,
Yeah.
and that's it, man. You don't remember they cutting on you. You don't black out. You don't remember what happened, man.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's fermented sugar. It becomes alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Fermented sugar is alcohol. So that's why when you stop drinking, you're taking in loads of sugar if you're drinking every day. And when you just stop that, that's why your body starts shaking. Your body's craving the sugar.
So the science, man. And say, for instance, this. I'm your good side. I'm sure you thought of this, but people prevention, and then after you're in the afterwards, the after.
Right.
But what type of Arizona? What do they have for prevention to get this message out?
They don't. They don't. We're actually making my classes are 3 hours for most of them, and then I do 2 8-hour classes on Saturdays during the month, but they don't. And so we're trying to put together a program for high school and college and young people, because even grade school kids, to show them, because by high school we're already being introduced to alcohol most places, so if not more. So we want to show them this isn't about being good or bad.
No.
This is about, this is about moments in your life that can change your life forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're not going to live out your life. Unfortunately, you're not going to live it the way you wanted to.
Right. And it's not a marketing gimmick. You remember Doral Simpson telling us in 75, marketing's all around us.
Yes. Doral Simpson, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a reality of that's the situation, and you got to understand maturity. We could all say that we have the inexperience of youth, but like our man says, hey, you don't know what you don't know, now you know.
Till you know it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And as I tell my people every night, most people that are sitting in prison never got a DUI. So you're thinking this is so terrible. You're sitting here, and it's one DUI is probably $10,000-$12,000. So you're going to the attorney and the fees, and then my classes, and then you're going to have a breathalyzer in your car for 6 months to a year. And it may have an ankle thing, and there's all kinds of things. But you think that's bad? This is the best thing that can happen to you of anything bad or any negative things, because this is a shot across the bow. This can give you the opportunity not to be the guy that just goes to happy hour and has one drink and drives home and loses his life. You have an opportunity to change now. You get to not have the opportunity to say, I don't know what I don't know till I know it. Well, you know it. Now you know it. Now what are you going to do with it? Right?
Right on, baby.
Yeah.
Right on. And it plays in St. Louis as well as Phoenix. It plays everywhere.
You're the home of Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
InBev, yeah.
Well, man, Budweiser, they have the thing, just know when to say when. Well, the problem is, the flaw in that is, the first thing that goes when you drink alcohol or do drugs is your ability to know when to say when. So it's a great idea, but people, if you look back on the things we do when we're impaired, we would have never done them if we weren't impaired. Most of us, some of us might have, but most of us, we take other chances. The first drink is like, it relaxes us. After that, the more we drink, all of a sudden our fuse starts getting shorter. We get angrier easier. We get in a fight with our girlfriend or our boyfriend. It's just the stuff we do that's not the same. I'm not trying to beat up anybody for drinking. I'm just saying this is only about getting in a car.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's a boat, that's a jet ski, that's
Right.
you can actually get a DUI on a horse. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anything moving. And there's also now they have electric bikes and electric scooters and stuff.
Yeah.
If they'll go as fast as you want to go on a bicycle or a scooter. So if you think you're going to drive, I mean, you can get a DUI on one of those as well. I'm just saying, if you lose your license or something, it might be a great answer for you. They go up to about 30 miles and you can drive all over for a while. You don't have to pay insurance on it. You don't have to put a license plate on it. So you can still get around for a while if you get a DUI. But from what I've heard, Missouri's not far behind us. They're pretty close.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And rightly so.
Yeah.
Rightly so. I don't feel like it's out of anybody's situation that this can't happen.
Well, you talk about, don't you, sports more than anything, pretty much? Or do you talk about everything?
Well, I kind of go off where soccer is life and life is soccer.
And I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. And so the the abuse, the addictions.
Right.
There's answers. As if you don't know how to play soccer correctly, hey,
Right.
there are answers.
There are.
And if you can't reason with yourself to say, I'm not going to drive,
Yeah.
then
Well,
you got to be under doctor's care 24/7.
yeah. I mean, we learn by repetition. You know that, right? So anything you're doing a lot, you're doing it. Once you're doing it, you're doing it, and you're doing it. And most of us have been doing this literally since high school. So why am I going to listen to this guy out in Arizona telling me, hey, if you drink and drive, you could lose your life? And look, dude, I've been doing it, 300 days a year since I was 16, and driving a car. So don't tell me, and not maybe to some big extent, but having a couple of beers and driving. So don't tell me what my life's going to be like. Here's the problem. It only takes one time. It doesn't take, a number of bad things. It just takes the wrong place, the wrong time. And if you've ever been in a car accident at all of a sudden it's like, boom. It's not like you have time to think and go, I don't want to have this accident. I'm going to move over. It's just instantly a car comes out of nowhere or you see something. Otherwise, you wouldn't have hit it. So when something happens like that and you got other people's minds and other people that might be drinking, with going a real short story, there was a person in my class last week. She's getting 8.5 years in prison. She's like 37 years old. And she's got a couple of kids. She owns a mortgage company. She was driving home. She hardly ever drinks and drives, but she was driving home and she had some drinks and, at happy hour. And she was driving home and she just felt like, I can make it. It's not very far. So she went through a red light. She was kind of in a blackout. She went through a red light. And guess what? She hit, it was a Tesla of all cars, but the Tesla driver, she broke his femur, cracked some ribs, but he lived. But the girl in the back seat got ejected. I guess the window was down or something. She got ejected out of the car and landed on the street and broke some of her back. She's going to apparently, after years or months and months, be okay. But she fractured her back. She's got all kinds of problems. And in her head, she had a head injury. Anyway, 8.5 years. Here's the interesting thing. The girl in the back seat of that car was at a bar and didn't want to drive home, so she called an Uber. That Tesla was an Uber. and only to get hit by a drunk driver and ejected out of the car.
Oh,
So, yeah. So, I mean, that lady, she's like, I don't know what I was thinking, and I said, well, you know what? Stop beating yourself up because you weren't thinking. That's you and impairment. And most of us don't think when we're impaired that we're impaired to the level we are. We just don't because we're using the same brain that's impaired.
yeah.
If I tell people, if you ever won a championship in anything, I know this because of Merrimack, and if you ever won a championship in anything, whether it's checkers or reading or spelling bee or any kind of sport, you don't do the same thing everybody else does. You do more. You make a commitment and you make it work. You do the extra laps. You do the extra sprints. You work harder than anybody else. And I mean, 90% of the people that win this thing, you study harder for the words. Most people that win do the little bit extra that other people aren't willing to do. Well, this is the time in your life that you need to take that kind of a thought process towards this particular issue, because any day it can take you out forever. And if it's not about dying, it's about living like an animal in a prison cell. So if you worked to get through college, or if you didn't, if you built a business or you worked for somebody else, if you have a career and you have a family, or whatever, if you have kids, why would you do all that and put them all on the table to take your car and drive it with a couple of drinks? You did all that work, and you're going to get in your car and risk it all with somebody else's ability to drive, not yours, because they're coming at you too.
Yeah.
So all it takes is, the wrong place, the wrong time. I mean, by the way, you can be sitting in a stoplight and somebody's texting and they pull up behind you and they run into the back of you, right? Okay, no big deal. But the guy behind them calls the police right away because he saw him hit you. So when the police get there, you've just had 2 beers. You're like a mile from home. You're not drunk, but you're getting your first DUI.
Have you sat in on mothers of drunken drivers?
Oh yeah, I've been to a number of them. Yeah, it's really the court makes you do at least one. I show a lot of the videos. I can send you some to you,
No.
and you can see some of them there. It's amazing what these people go through. And on my Saturday class, we show the worst DUI accident in U.S. history. It happened in 1988. It was a wrong-way driver on the freeway, hit a school bus full of kids coming back from an amusement park, and 24 kids died and 3 adults. And it's called Impact after the crash. So it's a 25-year documentary of these people's lives that were on that bus, and the families who lost children who lost parts of their bodies, and what they had to go through for the next 25 years for one person's decision in 1 minute to drink and drive or not. And this was a normal guy, not a problem drinker. He was a family man who they took his keys away from him at a party because they thought he drank too much, and he wouldn't let it go. He kept saying, no, I'm fine. And they said, don't drive, we'll take you home. No, he had to drive. And so they finally gave him back to him because he said he would go straight home, he promised. Well, he didn't go straight home. He went and got more alcohol, and then he got on the freeway the wrong way. And he survived the crash. So he spent the next 16 years in a prison cell. And I promise you, there's not a day he laid there that he didn't wonder, why didn't I just give him the friggin' keys? Why didn't I give him the keys? They had the keys. Why did I have to? Because you're impaired. You're not yourself.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. You're impaired. Yeah. It's an impossible. The word impossible. You got I'm possible. I'm possible to make the decision not to do it because I did it beforehand. Right. But once I'm in it, there is no out. Right.
And for most of us, when we get older, Kev, I don't know where you are. I'm pretty sure you're on that path too. But if you're not, I hope you will be. And we build, we start start understanding how much limited, how limited we are in our power. So like I have an unbelievable spiritual life today. And that all started when I got sober 29 years ago, right? For the first time. I mean, I've been sober 28 and a half years out of 29. So
Right.
I wasn't perfect at that either. But so that started there. But so when you follow God in your life, and I'm not telling anybody you have to or you don't, but if you follow God in your life, it's all about what's the word I'm looking for? It's what's the word when you follow the rules and they do? It's about
Conformity. Conformity.
uh,
No.
yeah, but like your parents tell you to do something, they want you to do it. It's about
Well, we're going to have somebody call in, but we don't have
yeah,
that option.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I'll think of the word, but anyway,
uh,
it's about doing what, and it's not easy. It's not easy to always do what you're supposed to do when no one's looking, right? So that's what this goes to. When you start to develop a spiritual life, you start to realize. I used to think I could do anything I want when no one was looking, right? But when you finally realize that for me, that God's always watching me, there is no time when no one's looking. So it's about doing what he wants me to do, whether I want to do it or not. And that's what this is like. So it doesn't matter how spiritual you are if you're going to go get in the car and drink some alcohol and then drive a car.
yeah.
Any more than if you drive 100 miles an hour down the street
Yeah.
and think you're a good driver,
Right. That good orderly direction, GOD.
Right. Good orderly direction.
I mean, it's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
Well,
And no one's telling anybody what to do. This is about,
no.
you just have to ask yourself a question. What do I really want with my life? And what am I willing to do to get there? And we haven't even talked about if you drive with a kid in the car. So if you have a kid under 14 in the car, and even if somebody's over at your house and your kids have a little pool party or something, one of the parents can't get there, and so you drive them home and you've had a beer, it's a felony. And it's a minimum of 3 to 6 months in prison if you drive with a kid under 14 years old in the car.
Wow.
So, and I drove with my kids all the time when I drank, because I drank every day.
Yeah.
So, so it's just, that's how blessed I realized I got at the end. I mean, I always thought this is just, it's the way it is. It's not always the way it is. There's many people sitting in prison that did just what I did. They just didn't get away with it one time.
Man. So think about, we're going to close it up. But I was just thinking that, when you say, hey, I'm leaving my keys, well, if you don't have somebody that's sober driving you back home, then you would hire somebody that's sober to drive you home. You could do that every day, and you probably would come out on the long run saving money.
Well, over one DUI, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, and not only that, a lot of people lose their jobs. I mean, it goes to so many levels. I mean, if you're a truck driver, you lose your license for a year. If you get 2 of them, you'll never get a CDL again. If you, there's people that have a sales job, and if they give them a company car, they no longer, or let's say you drive a truck, like a delivery truck, you can't work for that company after you get a DUI. Their insurance won't hire you. So people lose their jobs all the time in careers. I had one gentleman, I know we're hanging up, but I had one gentleman, 60-something years old. He was in my class, like in tears, and he said he drove a bus out here in Phoenix for like 30 years. And all he wanted to do was drive for like Greyhound or Trailways and go across the country driving. And he could never get the job. And he said it was more money and he wanted to see the country. He got the job in his 60s, and he went out to celebrate. Right after he got the job, he was going to start the following week. He went out to celebrate, and he took an Uber, and he came back, and he got home and he didn't have any cigarettes. And there was a store 2 blocks down. He hopped in his son's car and went up 2 blocks and sideswiped the neighbor's car. By the time he got back home, there was like 4 cops there. They arrested him. He lost his job that he waited all his life to get, and Then he couldn't even drive for the regular bus company because he's got a DUI. So he lost everything when he finally got the job. I mean, it's just, we could give all these examples. There's a lot of people that never get a DUI. Okay, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to keep risking, the worst, or do you want to do, what you know is right?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
They talk about investment strategies, but because the compounded interest that happens, holy Jesus, Mother of God, you make this kind of decision, you get compounded dysfunction just all over the place.
Yeah. And this isn't, again, it's not about going out knowing you're doing something wrong. It's not like going to the store and stealing a steak and going home and eating it.
Yeah, right.
But honestly, the steak's never going to kill anybody.
Right.
So because we don't ever believe that'll happen to us, we don't really feel like we're doing. And I'm on that side. Thank God I don't drink, because it's really not that simple. It's kind of hard, and especially once you have a couple of drinks, to never ever think you can't get in the car and run up to the store. So it's a difficult problem. We're all facing it. And, I wish everybody the best. And listen, nobody's judging you. So if you're doing it, this is only between you and God, or you and whoever is your higher power.
Yeah.
And if that's it, there is nobody else judging you. I'm not judging you. I'm wishing you the best. But, there's nobody that's going to be able to help you, including God, if something goes wrong.
Hey, man, it's a custom here at Whale Certified to say, hey, Robbie, whatever you want to say to who you ever want to say it to for as long as you want to say it for.
Yeah, I think that you gave me a lot of time to talk tonight, and I really appreciate that, Kev. This is an important subject, but most importantly, I'm just going to say this, because I've said everything about alcohol and drugs, and that is this guy who brought me on tonight, Kevin, is just an amazing friend, and we've known each other since high school. And I hope you guys continue to listen to his podcast. He sends them out to me all the time, and I always listen to him. And I love you, Kev. And I just hope that things continue to go well for you. And listen, whoever's listening to this, if you do struggle with the drinking and driving thing, if you want to get a hold of Kevin, I'll give him carte blanche to give you my phone number. If you ever want to talk about any other questions, Kev, you can give him my number.
Okay. Well, I want you to know that I know that you know. You and the missus are in the Whale Certified Hall of Affinity.
Hey!
Yeah, and that's not, this is the serious moment over there. And man, you are the world needed this, Robbie. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, if we can help one person just look at things a little differently, then we won.
Right. So, Robbie, I tell you, I'm going to send you a certificate that you may hang up on the wall.
I'll hang it, buddy. I'll hang it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, brother.
Thank you again, Robbie. Bye-bye.
I love you, man. Take care of
Love
yourself.
you.
I'll talk to you soon, Kev.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.